Hello, my name's Nunny, and you're watching Underground Heroes.
Hey Nunny and everyone watching, my name's Leigh Thomas. I'm a singer-songwriter guitarist from Melbourne, Australia.
How long have you been making music, and what got you started?
I started making music when I was very young. Taught myself to play, wrote songs as a child and constantly had music on the brain. I think as I got older I was kind of steered off course a little, to get a real job. But always played in bands, and eventually got so busy playing in bands that it just became a full-time thing. But really wasn't until COVID hit and put me out of the work situation, as I was mainly playing covers and pub gigs and private work, that I really knuckled down and got back to writing and really rediscovered that creativity that I was kind of missing. It was only probably 2019 that I really started writing again and putting a lot of effort into my original material.
What's your latest release called? Tell us a little something about the track.
My latest release is Something About You, which is kind of come out as a bit of an 80s upbeat sort of vibe, pop rock tune, which I tend to write a bit of, and it sort of came about basically from a melody perspective, and most of the songs I don't plan how they're going to come out or what style or treatment I'm going to give them. I just really let the song dictate. And this one was asking for that sort of treatment. Basically the song's fairly lyrically simple. It doesn't need to say a lot. It's really just a catchy, hooky song, and the basic theme behind the song is really being sucked into someone's orbit and compelled to be attracted to them and to be drawn into them when they're probably not, their designs are not necessarily benevolent. So I'm sure we've probably all experienced those situations.
Who's the last artist you just listened to?
The last artist I listened to was actually good buddy John Mickey Collective. I was fortunate enough to win his competition or come second, and scored myself a copy of his album for free, sent all the way to Australia from the UK, and so I had the CD. So I've been listening to that most days lately, and really enjoying the CD. Even though it blew up my speakers in my van, I've had to listen to it indoors. But great work.
Can you tell me an interesting fact about you? Something that we probably wouldn't know?
A few years ago I was given a modelling contract by one of the top modelling agencies, commercial modelling agencies here in Australia, and I thought it'd be a pretty cruisy kind of day gig, just to get pose on sofas and laugh at salads and things like that, get my picture taken. And a few months went by and I never really got any calls from the agency, and ended up buggering off interstate for a little while. And the day after I got about the other side of the country, I got a call from the agency for my first job, and had to say, sorry I didn't notify you, but I'm not going to be able to get there in one day, and haven't heard from them since. That was the end of my modelling career.
What are your plans musically for 2021?
My musical plans for 2021 are kind of just rolling along with the currents. I think planning is not one of my big strengths. I tend to just sort of go with the flow. I'd like to be going back to play live gigs. I really miss live gigs, are kind of my bread and butter, and so doing lots of live streams to try and compensate with that and keep keep in touch with my audience and try different things. It's a good way to experiment and try songs out on people. So continuing to write and really build up my catalogue and strengthen my writing and production techniques. So I'm still, even though a fairly seasoned musician, fairly relatively new to that side of it. So I'll kind of focus on that process. I'm not really a goal-driven person, I'm more of a process-driven person. I enjoy the process, and so I don't plan too far ahead, and I'm just keep doing what I'm doing.
What's inspired you to do music?
What inspires me? Lots of things inspire me. Music has been my whole life, and I think it's been kind of like eating and breathing and sleeping. It's just I don't need a lot of inspiration to play music. There's so much scope to do different things with music, so there's always a way to find motivation. You can change instruments, you can try different genres and styles and introduce different aspects, but I think the main inspiration for me musically to play music or to create music was always to try and give people what I got from music. I was, and it was an obsession for me. It was like magic. It was like this magic spell that would reach in and connect with your emotions and make you connect with you mentally and physically. Music can make you move, it can make you feel, and something kind of magical that I always viewed music as something otherworldly, I guess, and to be able to instill feelings into people the way that music did for me, I think is the reason I play and the reason I do what I do. That's my inspiration.
Where can people find your music?
You can hear my music everywhere. If you seek and you shall find. It's on the usual places, of course, Apple and Spotify and all those streaming platforms. Bandcamp, I have a site there, YouTube, some videos, YouTube music as well. All the links are on my website, leighthomasmusic.com. So go and subscribe to my web page and my mailing list. Need a few more on there, and all the links can be found on my web page to all the other social media sites and streaming platforms. That's leighthomasmusic.com. I think on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm just Leigh Thomas or whatever. Yeah, it's all on the website.
Okay, dream gig. What two artists or bands, dead or alive, would you perform with, and where would that gig be?
My dream gig. I've seen all of your interviews, Nunny, and there's people out there who are, sharing similar dream gigs. I have my similar influences and heroes like David Gilmour and the Beatles, John Lennon, people like that. So I'm not going to go. I'm going to try something otherly. I think a dream gig for me would be to play along with Keith Richards, just to jam out. He's such a cool dude, and I love the way he's just his style, his easy style, the way he can make the guitar work with everything else. And I think to play guitar with him would be a great challenge and great experience. I think the gig though wouldn't probably be anywhere really spectacular. I'd actually like to have that gig in my pool room. Just me and Keith hanging out, having a few beers, maybe shoot some pool, play some guitar, and just shoot the breeze. No, the other one, I think, as far as from a gig perspective, I'd really love if I was to have another band going. I'd formally invite Stuart Copeland to be my drummer. What a magnificent drummer, and I think the ideal gig for Stewie and I would be somewhere on the Caribbean beach, just really hammering out the volume as much as possible and just playing out to the ocean. sort of complement his kind of reggae, calypso-y sort of inclinations. I think that would be pretty cool.
Thanks for the interview. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Shout out. Wow, where do you start? Where do you finish? I'm really going to try and single people out. I think you have to really shout out to the whole community. I think this year's really created something really unique, and the music Twitter community, all the artists and promoters and people who do both have really banded together, and I think it's nothing quite like it that I can remember ever seeing in the history of music. So I think that's a really special thing, and I think it's taken it to a big stage. I'm used to belting it out in local pubs and a local music scene, and local music scenes can be kind of a little bit picky and cliquey, but there's really none of that in the wider community, and it's like seeing the big picture rather than focusing on being a hero in your own backyard. There's really not much point to that, so I'll start there. I think all the artists that I connect with on Twitter every day, through the week and on social media, just kudos to everybody. It's a really wonderful thing. It's helped me a lot, and I'm sure it's helped all the artists who are, have had to get through maybe losing their work or are just starting up with this new sort of inspiration. And on there you'll find all the great artists like yourself, Nunny, who are doing extra stuff above and beyond to help indie artists and promote, and with podcasts and interviews and things like that, programs, as well as there's other people doing those sorts of things too. Dell and Platinum Mind, and there's Dazzling Stage. There's quite a few others, and guys like Des Music Marketing, and lots of the other artists who are doing great stuff with playlists as well. Playlist is a big shout out to you guys too. The radio, where would we be without radio? So a big shout out to, I'll start locally, my local radio station here, ACAV on Gippsland FM. Just so grateful for playing my music, and to all the community radio stations around the country, and overseas to Lizzie Romain, to all the guys at 382 Radio as well. Fantastic stuff that they're doing. Good Music Radio, Pluto, there's just so many, and Wyatt, of course, as well. Where would we be without radio? I think it's the ultimate. I've always thought it was the ultimate, but maybe it's a little retro of me, but I still think it's a very, very current and relevant medium for getting your music heard by the people. And they're my last shout out, is the people. Hey people, hey all the guys that aren't involved in the industry that are listening to my music and streaming it and interacting with me on socials and coming to my live streams. Just people who I aim my music at, the people who I want to connect with music, who are listening. So we'd be nothing without you guys. Thanks.